likes. They've become a part of everyday life. When you open Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or any number of apps or websites, you'll probably head straight to your notifications to see how many likes you've got recently. Did people like that picture of Sunday's bagels? Did they think that your outdated joke about Tiger King was funny? In Death Stranding, the developers decided to put likes even in the desolate wasteland of the future. The bridges you build here can be liked. The messages you leave behind can be liked. Even the holographic mushrooms that grow where you relieve yourself at the side of the road can get a thumbs up from passing players. This isn't the first game to let players rate messages. In Dark Souls you can leave warnings or exclamations of happiness, and if they're rated favourably by a distant player in a parallel game world, for example, you're magically healed. But Death Stranding is the closest a game comes to the internet we know today as far as likes are concerned. Hundreds of thousands of likes flood this damaged world every time you log on, encouraging you to build more, to build better, to like, and yes, to subscribe. The game lets you connect yourself to other players, making it more likely to see their specific constructions, just like subscribing to a YouTube video means that you'll see more of that on your YouTube homepage. But have you ever stopped to think, what is all this liking and being liked doing to your brain?
So like is a form of social reward, which means it lights up reward systems in our brain. These are systems that signal to the brain or to the body that we enjoy something.
That's Dr. Ophir Turrell, a neuroscientist working at Fullerton in California. He's been looking at what social media does to our brain for the last few years.
So if I eat a piece of cake, the brain system that processes rewards would light up, would release dopamine in the brain, and that's the neurotransmitter that makes us feel good. And through this, the brain sort of learns to crave a piece of cake and to react automatically the next time. So when I see a piece of cake, the brain tells me, this is rewarding, go for it.
But of course, Dr. Turrell isn't just talking about sugary food.
So the same happens with likes. So likes are rewarding for the simple reason that humans are social animals. We seek to be related to others. So every time we get a like, it signals to us that we relate to others and that we have some sense of competence.
The effect of likes on the human brain is something that even qualified neuroscientists like Dr. Turrell are still looking into. The human brain is a pretty complex organ, and it requires endless research full of asides and caveats and investigation just to barely understand it. One thing that seems to be suggested by research is that a desire for likes might lead to people being willing to take more risks.
So when animals are deprived from food, they are willing to take more risks, like going into fields where they may be predators or try to hunt at night, even though they don't have good night vision. So they're taking risks. Humans are the same. They have needs. And when humans sense that they do not have enough likes, that others have many more likes than they have, they are willing to engage in riskier behaviors, like posting private information such as their birth date, or posting images of themselves while driving, or in risky situations like standing on the edge of a cliff trying to take a selfie.
And there is, of course, one other complication that comes from getting a bucket load of likes.
See, it's sort of, I'm using an extreme term here, it's addictive, or maybe I should use a softer term. It's really engaging, so it can really suck you in. Of course, first time you build a bridge and you get 50 likes, it's going to make you happy. Now, next time you build a bridge, your 50 may not be enough. Now you want 60.
Now, addiction is a big word, like Dr. Turrell suggests, so let's not take it lightly. In fact, another neuroscientist we spoke to told us that a therapist is far more qualified than any neuroscientist to tell anybody whether they're addicted to something or not. So with that in mind, let's not jump to any conclusions, okay? But if the chemicals in our brain are being triggered by these little red hearts and happy upward thumbs, then that's something we probably should be aware of, right? Some studies have shown that the extended use of social media sites might increase depression and loneliness, or at least by abstaining from those websites, the feelings of depression and loneliness can lessen over time.
Likes are much more powerful because now you have some metric that you could use. So my bridge got 50 likes, the other person's bridge got 20 likes, so it's easier to compare. Unfortunately, we tend to compare ourselves upwards to people who have more.
But I don't deserve it, god damn it!
The important thing, ultimately, a neuroscientist will tell you, is how you use these websites and these apps, and by extension maybe, how you play games like Death Stranding as well.
In a normal face-to-face setting, we can compare ourselves to whoever we see, the 10, 20, 30 people that surround us. But in social media and video game setting, we have a much larger pool of people, and there is always going to be someone with better scores than you have, more likes than you have. But this is a false sense of relatedness and competency, of course, because likes do not always indicate that a person is competent.
So my pea mushroom that only got 200 likes isn't necessarily worse than another person's pea mushroom that got 2,000 likes.
No, and it's very subjective. So even if you get 2,000 likes, you may initially feel good about it, but eventually you may feel bad about it because you realize that someone else got 4,000 likes on their mushroom.
And I suppose that's the significant thing you should take away from this video. If you are going to use likes as a metric for affirmation or favs as a reason to feel good about yourself, then you should constantly and consciously remind yourself that comparing yourself to others isn't always helpful, and it isn't always healthy. So, before you go liking anybody else's thing on the internet, please remember to like yourself.
I brought you a metaphor.
Thank you for watching. This video is based on an episode of Hey Lesson, the podcast where we ask smart people stupid questions about video games. So if you want to hear the full 15-minute interview we did with Dr. Ophir Turrell about this subject, you can find a link in the description below. Other episodes are also available in which we ask a professor of infectious diseases about the parasites of Baldur's Gate 3, for example, and another one where we ask a caving instructor to tell us if the dangers of Spelunky are at all real or not. Clue: there's a little bit. Whatever we talk about, we always try to find out new things and have a little bit of fun while doing so. So if you enjoyed this video, please check out our podcasts at heylesson.net or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for watching, and keep learning by mistake.